It's a show with a difference this evening on Share Shootout League, the only league in the world without players. This is match day number 36 on CNBC Africa. First in business worldwide, I'm Bruce Whitfield. Now, when the presidency invited us to give suggestions for the State of the Nation address, was it surprised by the fact that it got so many calls for the resignation of number one, the most famous resident of Nkandla? Come next week, Thursday, well, Eskom guaranteed lights will be on for the State of the Dark Nation, and is holding on to your Curo shares really just a black and white issue? Now, we don't know the answers to any of these provocative questions. What we do know is that this would have been the last nail-biting, owl-gouging, body-scratching bout of the league before the semi-final stage. But we're doing our own version of load shedding tonight. Before I shed light on that, take a look at what Twitter dished up on match day number 35 between Sid, the Maverick, and Levan, the good guy. By groveling, pleading, tweeting, Levan, the good guy, managed to edge out Sid Vianello. He managed to edge out the older guy, and he took the last 3 points available, and he nudged himself up the league to improve his standings. And we have a look at the full league there. There's Gary Running Dog on 18, Sasha Bucks, Nick the Value Guy, and K Live bring up the rear. Chris the Scot on 12 points. You look at the good guy, he's now tied on 12 points with an identical record to Chris the Scot. Levan ends the season in 6th place. This doesn't affect any of the guys at the top of the league. Now, as you know, only 4th spot or better is good enough for a semi-final position. Remember, this is your league, and as much as it is up to you for the stock pickers, you decide on their fate, and ultimately, you decide who you think is the country's best stock picker. The title is up for grabs, and so is the matter of a check, which, look, we're not going to, we'll force them to donate it to charity. All you have to do is make one of these guys' dreams by being crowned the king of the Share Shootout League, the champion of the Share Shootout League. All you have to do, and surely you know by now, you follow at SSO League on Twitter, you tweet any of the stock pickers' hashtags, and it's as easy as whether or not to give up your Curo shares. Now, this is the part where I normally say, back to the match at hand. Alas, we don't have a match. For the first time this season, we don't have Matthew, Chi-Town. Now, there's an American corporate culture thing that happens. Pause the auto cue, please, maestro. Because what happens in American corporate culture, some companies, the bottom 5% of staff every year know they're going to get cut. So we saved him the embarrassment, and we just said to him, Matthew, Chi-Town, 3 points. Don't come back, buddy. Please don't. We miss him, but he was only on 3 points. The adjudicators of the show have duly awarded this buy of 3 points to Nick, the Value Guy. Let's see how this changes then the look of the league, with all of the players now having played their allocated 8 matches. Starting with the guys who also ran, starting from the bottom to the top. Let's see the man who forfeited his last match, Matthew Chi-Town. We remember him well. He only won his first match, and he's not really performed since. Chi-Town can now be officially embrace his bottom place on the log. Check out 8th position, Sid, the very brave Maverick Vianello. Much respected, and he is afforded as being the guy with his strong insights, his stocks, but struggled to get his ideas into just 30 seconds. Most people who know him know he likes to tell a tale. Sid actually retired long before being hounded by the producers to take part in the Share Shootout League. So kudos to Sid, a man who religiously goes to macro every Tuesday with Mrs. Sid to fill up a trolley. Moving up the log, we take a look at Nao, the one. Well, he was the one who really didn't get out of the starting blocks very well. His finest talents were discovered through the show. An astute market watcher who impressed us here with his company analysis, but he had wobbly form and he didn't really get his mates on Twitter to do him any justice. Above Nao is Levan, the good guy, tenacious, feisty, snappy dresser in his old lawyer's suits, and a feisty stock picker and a lover of resource stocks. The good guy woke up late in the league and he started making a charge in his last 4 matches. Unfortunately, a little bit like the horses at most horse races, if you leave it too late, you don't get to the finishing gate. And that rhymed. Now, let's turn our attention to what matters most. But first, Chris the Scot. We love the Scot. The Scotsman narrowly misses out on a semi-final spot. Chris endeared himself to the Share Shootout League viewers, most notably when he wore a dress. No, it wasn't a dress. Producers, it was a kilt. And stopped just short of yelling out William Wallace's call for Scotland free of dirty Sassenach influence. But he did show us his dirk. Unfortunately, not what was worn under his kilt. Now, we get to the part where the wheel meets the tar. It's the top 4. This is where it gets downright dirty and absolutely filthy, where I hope the players in the game who are not in contention for the top spot will back their favorite rival. Let's take one of the biggest market commentators in social media. You notice I said one of the biggest on social media, not the biggest in real life, because Ramathibela-Smith. Ramathibela-Smith isn't all that tall. As he's known these days, of course, he is K-Live. He ran an interesting league campaign. He started strong by winning his first 2 matches, losing the next 3, and then winning the last 3. Not a great strategy because, well, you know, he didn't get up to the top. K-Live is now, though, in the semi-finals. He poses a real threat to the other 3 stock pickers. Above K-Live is a 3-way split, starting with a man who lost his first match, rebounded to win the next 5. Nick, the value guy, impressed us with one of the best winning streaks we've seen on the show. Also tied on 18 points, Sasha, otherwise known as Bucks. Now, Sasha always wanted to win this league. He started out by losing his first match to Sid the Maverick Vianello, and we thought he was a bit of a loser. Since then, he pulled out the big guns, and he and his mates took to Twitter like Kayadlanga would. He assaulted all of the ensuing competitors, only losing again to K-Live. But that was a hard-fought battle as well. It was nail-bitingly close. Sitting afloat the league in first spot is the lanky newlywed Gary Running Dog. This guy is the most dedicated stock picker on the show. He got married. He then delayed his honeymoon so that he could play against Sasha. Gary is one of the most cunning and conniving stock pickers on the league. He shamelessly offered the producers a brown envelope despite already being at number 1. Like I said, he's sly, he's conniving. He's just the kind of guy we like on the show. Without any more delay, let's see what the semi-finalists have to say about their chances of winning this league. Let's start out with Nick, the value guy.
My hashtag is value guy. So pretty self-explanatory, follow a value investing process. That means that I'm differentiated in terms of I'm often buying stocks that people hate, really out of favor, the kind of stock that someone will listen and say, is this guy nuts? How the hell can he possibly be investing in that? We all know why that's a terrible decision. And what that means is the stock price is generally down, and that means that pay the right price, you can get a great investment return. No, try as much as possible to pick the stocks to invest in. It did become harder and harder as we went through the show because a lot of stock prices have rallied, so we're not buying very actively locally and even internationally as well. So it's been hard, but absolutely wherever possible. We did have to reach out further, but in that case we did try and pick stocks that showed the same philosophy. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work especially for everyone involved in it. I think it's a long slog, but it was a lot of fun. In terms of surprises, no real surprises. I think there were a lot of really good stock pickers in there. I guess surprises are that there's some fantastic stock pickers with a lot of experience. Guys like Sid Vianello, for example, who didn't even make the top 4. So I guess that shows you the caliber of people involved. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, we certainly think that our stock picking is what differentiates us at Lentus, and hopefully being somewhere at the top is a fair reflection. Yes. That was the aim, but as I mentioned before, there was very, very stiff competition. So yeah, I guess it's an honor to be up there. You know what? It's the knockout stages of the league. I think anyone's just as dangerous. So maybe it's a bit of a cop out, but I don't think there's anyone to want to play or to avoid. You've just got to win the next 2 matches. I'd like to draw a bye or a walkover. That's probably the only one. But other than that, yeah, anyone is fine, I guess. Sorry, I have to take the 5th again. Yeah, there's. I think everyone is tough. I can't expose myself like that. Then I'm insulting everyone else. So I'll just sit on the fence and I'll be Swiss. I think it's hopefully it'll show that they understand and I've communicated the theory behind what we do as value investors. It's easy to look at it and, as I said earlier, say you're a little bit nuts. So if I can elaborate and show people the underlying reasons on why those particular stocks that I've picked work, and I do that properly, then hopefully they can vote with not with their feet, with their Twitter handles. I can't ignore that one again. So let me go with Gary, just because that's from a physical safety point of view. He's the one most likely to beat me if I don't say anything.
Now that was the deep value man, Nick the Value Guy, unassuming, and ignore that at your peril. Right now, let's hear from the popular social media market commentator. Let's check out what K Live's plan is, if he'll tell us even half the truth, for the final.
Halala, 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 halala. So, unlike C Live, I don't DJ. So I do what I do best, which is obviously the fact that I am the best when it comes to investing. So why they do not and say the K? Because every guy who's got a K name in the world at the moment has some oil stocks. So that's why I went with the K, because K is live. My competitors, there's only one man I fear the most. One man. He's tall, he's bitter, and he's ugly, and I hate him, and he's gonna crush me. But I will come back and I will destroy him, just like the ant killed the elephant. Anything that has to do with me has to have justice in it, because as you can see, I am the one with the least amount of color in the actual group. So, this is what this means. It means one of two things. Either, like the majority, I made it, just made it. So if I was a matric student or pupil, I would have made it as well. Just 33.333%. So that's how I got into the top 4. Baba, I'm doing it this time. You know, there's two guys that were very, very good in this particular competition. One of them you're looking at. And then the other one is the one I fear the most, Gary. I thought somebody would have tripped him already now and he would have fallen. Unfortunately, Mr. Mugabe beat him to it. We choose stocks that we believe in on the short term. It's very difficult because we are investors. We focus on long term. But for this particular show, because we want to go ghetto, we go for the short stocks that make money in the short and immediate term. In the semi-final draw, I want to avoid Mr. Gary Boyson because I want to see him in the final. There's one man, I don't know from which planet he's from, but he scares the living hell out of me. That's why I call him Sushi and not Sasha. The only gameplay that there is making sure that the numbers are not cooked and people actually vote and they don't go by mass production. No, we must be able to be voted for legally. So let's not use our media platforms to actually gain more votes. I mean, really, if there's any other tenderpreneur out there who looks better than me, I don't know if there is. But look at this belly, look at this smile. I've even got proof that I am actually the best tenderpreneur in this country. Look at the rings. There we go. See that? Look at the, oh man, look at the bling. That watch doesn't come cheap, my friend. So vote for me. I'll make you a tenderpreneur. How did Nick get into the top 4? That's what I want to find out. That's the first thing I want to find out. How did Nick make it to the top 4? And then the other thing that is very important here, Gary and I are going to be in the final. Sasha, you know, mate, I'm sorry, but you're not going to make it. Gary and I are going to be in the final. If I should lose, at least I know the reason why I've lost. It's because he's taller than me.
Who's a bright spark? Who's a lame duck? Who's running short on their luck? You'll find out in the next couple of weeks on here on Share Shootout League, only on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. We'll come back after the break with the rest of the finalists and let you sharpen your claws for what is going to be an epic battle over the next month. Welcome back to the Share Shootout League here on the CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide, the only league in the world with more administrators than FIFA. This is match day number 36, and next week, Tuesday, we'll see our first semi-final match. Later on in the show, we get to draw the names of our 4 stock picker. We see who goes up against whom and who will stack up and who will stack out. But before we get the assistance that we need, let us hear the views of our last 2 semi-finalists. Let's check out Gary, the running dog.
My hashtag is running dog, hashtag running dog. Misuse it often, especially in the next show that's coming up. I think they've been good. I think the quality has been fairly high on the show, and tough. A lot of these guys have big Twitter followings. I don't know. I suppose I have to say yes if I'm in the semi-finals, but I think it's heavily biased to your Twitter following. So that's I think the most important thing for winning this. Definitely no. I think I saw him on the bottom of the league and I thought, oh, this is going to be an easy challenge. I came in there completely unprepared and he destroyed me, and rightly so. I think he deserved his victory. Now, of course, we normally pick stocks that we've got an analyst either covering and have a buy signal out on it. I mean, we do a lot of research into the different picks. We try and give quality, even though it's only a 30-second clip of a stock. I mean, we obviously do a lot of research. I own many of the stocks that I've picked myself, and we own them on behalf of clients as well. And I mean, it's our fiduciary duty to try and make everyone money. I don't know if I expected it, but I definitely hoped that I was going to be there. I worked very hard to get there. I sort of rustled up everyone I knew on Twitter and got them to vote. I've got to say Sasha, that guy, he's got too much personality. I think the viewers just love him so much. I mean, he's definitely the one to beat. Yeah, Sasha, I'd say he's the biggest competitor. Yeah, definitely the one to watch. Your game plan for winning, I think, like I said, you can pick great stocks, and it seems that the viewers are responding to good stock picks. If they like your company, they vote for you, but I don't think that's all it. I think I've just got to literally go and buy Twitter advertising. That's what I'm going to do, and try and get as many votes as possible. So go and vote right now. Even you can just vote hashtag running dog. I think it's, to be honest, as much as Twitter votes has played such an important part in the competition, you should look at the performance of the picks. And I think if you had taken all the stocks that I picked, you would have a nicely diversified portfolio, from blue chip stocks to offshore exposure to nice small caps. And I think if you had put your money in the stock picks, even at the times which were dictated by when the shows were filming, you would have done well. I think it's actually, while Sasha's the biggest contender, I think I'm going to go with an underdog. I think it's going to be Clive. Yeah, it's well, that's what you do, I suppose, for the show. It's the show about, it goes, show, wife, you.
You have to love the brash confidence and the downright determination of our semi-finalists. The last stock picker for the evening, all the way from Russia, with not much love. But hey, he has style, panache, and he knows how to pick a stock. At the start, he was the most feared player in the league. We know him as a puppy, really. Let's check out Sasha, otherwise known as Bugs.
Hello, everybody. The Amakosi are not going to like me, but the Bucks is a part reference to my other favorite football team. But most importantly, I wasn't allowed to use Mr. Krabs, where all you SpongeBob fans will know who Mr. Krabs is. My ability? Absolutely not. All the other competitors are far superior to me. All of them. The competition was so fierce and everyone was so excellent. So, most especially Gary, he was very serious about this game, and he said I was a big competitor. Gary took me completely by surprise. And he got married in between. Very surprised he didn't get distracted for 1 second. Of course, you have to, because but of course there's a criteria. You can't pick the same company twice. Although sneakily I managed to do that and the producer didn't notice. Definitely not. I thought Sid Vianello I think Sid's experience is probably, maybe take Chris aside, is as much as all the other competitors put together. I think it's a clean slate. Everyone's going to bring their A game. So you have to. I'm going to be like Brendan Fenter here. Yes, winning is good. You must try much harder. I want to avoid clashing with Bruce. You must avoid that at all costs. You must be very, very nice to Bruce. They're all far smarter than me, so I have to bring my wit and A game in order to, I have no idea, bamboozle them with the facts. So I have to be very studious in the semi-final, very, very studious. Definitely the other three in the semi-finals. Nick, Gary and Clive are all great competition. Well, I remember Sid Vianello at the beginning said yes, he thinks he's going to win because otherwise he wouldn't have entered. That's the best answer I think I've heard so far. My answer's the same as Sid. He's Venetian, and those people don't even have wheels there. They've got gondolas. To get as many tweets as possible. Because when you're competing against family shows like Modern Family, you need to be much funnier than all the other competitors. This is, after all, a competition, but more importantly, entertainment. I think the winner will be the stock market, as when people say the winner was football or the winner was cricket.
Right, I've done enough by myself. This is the part of the show where I get some help, because we've got 4 players who are going into the semi-finals. But how do you objectively choose who should go up against whom? This isn't the World Cup. There are no penalty shootouts. There is no sort of clock to time out who was the most efficient player. So Cleo is going to be my assistant this evening. Cleo, bring the names. Inside that, are you wearing skulls on your top?
Yes.
Do you dress like this always, or do you just dress like this for danger, for television?
For danger.
I think you do it all the time. Okay, you've got it's the Share Shootout League jar, specially made. In there,
4 semi-finalists.
4 semi-finalists. Will you care to draw the name of the first semi-finalist, please? This is like PwC and those guys in the lottery, isn't it?
Something like that.
Okay. It doesn't have a lid. You can just stick your hand straight through. But let's see, keep the illusion going. Can I do it? Can I?
You may.
I can be trusted.
Please do. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Our first contestant. Gary Boyson, the running dog. Now, who will Gary Boyson, the running dog, be playing? Should we throw his name away? He never throws his own name away. We'll throw his name away. Gary Boyson, the running dog, will go up against, give it a good shake.
Okay.
We know politicians like to have a good shake from time to time. Gary Boyson, it's the long and the short of it, because Gary Boyson, the tall man, running dog, goes up. Not against Jacob Zuma, but against Clive Ramathibela-Smith, the man with a laugh bigger than he is. Okay, let's go into then the semi-final round. I guess it's no surprise. We don't even need to draw them, because we do know it's going to be Sasha, Happy Face Narishkin, otherwise known as Bucks. He's going to go up against, of course, Nick Norman Smith, the value guy. Those are the semi-finalists. Cleo, it was a job beautifully done. Thank you so much for coming to do it with such aplomb. I'm going to pass those back to you. Thank you. You may go back to your day job of taking over the world. So those are the 4 semi-finalists. They're going to go up against one another on the Share Shootout League. It is the semi-finals. And so who do we have going up against each other? We've got Gary the Running Dog against Clive Ramathibela-Smith. And then we have got, of course, Sasha Narishkin going up against Nick the Value Guy. That is possibly the best scenario we could have had going into this competition. So who will make it to the final? A big thanks to Cleo for the help. Our contestants are going to need your help to rise to the top of the massively competitive heap as we kick off the semi-final match. We'll have those matches for the next couple of weeks, and they'll be taking each other on and begging and pleading and asking for your votes. The way you will do that is follow at Share Shootout League and decide on who will win the league title. These are going to be a humdinger battles over the next couple of weeks, and I'm sure the stock pickers are already working on picking some of the best shares that are available in the world of stock picking. Join us next time, 8:30 Central African time, and decide for yourself who should be the Share Shootout League champion. Till then, stay cunning.